Hi everyone, I just wanted to give you guys a preview of the Temple Dungeon more or less final project from the Temple Dungeon course. Um, I'm right here on my MVCode Minecraft server, and this is the code that I have so far. So the course will get you up until basically up until the boss fight, and I'm going to show you kind of where I am in coding that right now. Um, but the overall concept behind this project is the way we do Minecraft. We use ScriptCraft, which is a JavaScript implementation. I'm getting my address there. Of the bucket server architecture. Oh, how did I get back to 13.2? All right. What we're going to be doing is essentially building a Zelda-like temple that has rooms and things. And if you've played Minecraft, you know it really doesn't have a concept of rooms. There are, entities and things like that. Uh, but the idea of anything being delineated, the caves kind of just move continuously. Everything is generated. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a class that has a concept of the room. And the way that we define a room is mostly by giving it the coordinates of two opposite corners so that we can tell if something is inside the room or outside of the room. And then in this temple, each of the rooms will have a mob that they're supposed to spawn. They will have doors that they're going to lock. And some of them will have a loot that you will get once you finish the room. So it looks like we start out in the boss chamber. We'll start out at the library just to give you a preview. So one of the first things I always do, and I'm actually working on a plugin as the final stage of the temple dungeon when I'm starting a project, is I just make myself a function to warp there and hard code the location into into the code. So I'll literally write down the coordinates like this that you can get up here, and you can see, and use those to make a teleport function, which is really pretty easy. And one of the most common challenges that we use. Okay, so to go to the temple, okay, so when you make an export function in ScriptCraft, you use JS to access it. And then we'll go there, and now we have warped to the forest temple. And I'll just go outside. What I find as I'm working with these things, because there's still mobs spawning and that kind of thing, is that they get a little bit of wear and tear, but it looks really good. Over here, you can find out what happens when you make splash potions explosive and then have two witches confront each other. And that's my original temple dungeon. But I really like how it looks, so I just keep it there. These are just other drone experiments. If you install ScriptCraft, it comes with the drone plugin, which is really neat. So the first part of this lesson is to build this dungeon. You essentially use a lot of the box function to do each of the rooms. This is a prism, is what they call that. And then this is a loop to build each of the rows there. And then inside also there's a cylinder. So you go inside here, and you're looking around, and obviously the first thing you see is this well. And the trap that you won't notice here is this stone plate, which is instantly going to start the temple. Let me turn off the debug information so that you can see it. I still have a lot of things logging to the console, but now I can kind of go back in here and I can see that there's a well. I think currently, yeah, we have disabled it'll put you in a sort of link outfit made of dyed leather eventually, but I disabled that because it was causing me to lose items. And okay, so as soon as I get in this room, I was given the sword when this dungeon started. This zombie spawns. I'm going to kill him, and when that happens, the doors unlock. If you have sound effects, you could hear that there's a iron trap door sound that we're using to create kind of the locking bars. This one's a skeleton. And I think in my demo version, I actually only have 3 rooms. So this one is a special room. In here, we have the grappling hook. This is actually the reason that yes, sorry. I finished the dungeon room, so we warped immediately to this part, which this water was not supposed to be here originally. But I'm going to need to put an air block there to stop that. So the grappling hook lets you target chiseled stone blocks, and basically uses a teleport function to put you above them and a little entity damage cancel to keep you from suffocating when you get moved into a wall or something like that. So I can, if you're familiar with Zelda, then you'll see I'm kind of trying to do a sort of hook shot thing. Oh, did not cancel the damage. All right, we'll have to look at that. Okay, and then at the bottom of this well is sort of the final part we're working on here, which is this boss chamber. So here, oh, looks like I got a zombie too. Make the zombie, not interested in me. We have Koem and Gatake. So these are witches that have AI set to false, so they don't have an AI, and they are supposed to be levitating in alternation and hitting us with projectiles of different types. So there's her fireball, and then hopefully Kotake will hit me with some snowballs. Not. But yeah, so that's where we are on the boss fight. This is a challenge, so given all the things you've learned about how to make a well and things like that, you should be able to make another cylinder to build the boss chamber. And then these guys are still in progress. It's going to use the Ender Dragon's phase model to move through each of the things. And as you can see up here, let's see here, I can't quite move my cursor to look at it, but you can see there's a boss bar up there that's going to show their health, and they'll actually have multiple phases. They'll be stacked on top of each other for the second phase, in which they kind of merge together, which is just another thing I got from the Zelda franchise. So when we're looking at the code, basically what we've got is some data objects that show kind of the information about the room that I need, coordinates for lots of different points, which are just sort of hard coded into it. Your version would have 6 rooms instead of 3, but this is mostly just a demo. And then we have the dungeon room class, and so the rooms can do things like seal and unseal their own doors. They can reset themselves. They can determine if an entity that has a normal location is inside of them by basically comparing the corners and rejecting anything that is outside of those corners. And to keep track of the possibility of spontaneously spawned monsters, we actually keep their IDs. They have these usually about 3-digit IDs for each of the monsters, and we put them into an array that is part of each room. And this lets us do this. And sort of the final challenge of this course is going to be to take everything we've learned about making a class for the rooms to make a class for the dungeons. And that will enable us to make a series of different dungeons, which is closer to the franchise that I've been talking about in this kind of like open world model where you can wander around, probably make a village to look like Kakariko Village and things like that. This is a sort of later escape room style project that doesn't have any code in it yet. It's just the drone project, but we also have the ocarina, which is sort of the demo for what you should get once you've completed the things. If I know just a clay ball, but here I actually have warps and little icons that stand for them, and it sets this kind of nice timeout and warps you to the forest temple as well, and we'll flesh that out with more temples as you build that. So that's kind of what you would learn and what you would build doing this project. Obviously, every part of it is customizable, and there's a lot of things you can do on your own. This is just kind of the version I made. You can change materials. You can change what the custom items are. There's lots of possibilities here, but this is the Forest Temple. Thank you guys for joining me.